Tuesday night. We are live. It is just Shane and I on the, I guess you would call it week 8 eve of a big game for us. As you see our backgrounds, we got Bengals, we got Eagles. They play this week.
Ooh.
Probably bigger game for the Bengals, but both teams need to win. They can't just afford to lose games that probably competitive games.
Eagles get the Jaguars next. So, yeah, they could bounce back if they lose this game. But anyway.
Okay. Well, then you can make sure that you concede that game. We need it a lot more than you.
No, absolutely not.
It should be a good, I think given both defenses are challenged in the secondary, it should be a fun fantasy game. But Shane and I, Tuesday night, no Clay. Clay's dealing with some stuff right now, so Clay won't be on this week. So we're going to take supers. We're going to take your questions. We're going to take some hammers that are already in the queue. It's going to be more of a laid-back, just Shane and I, mannequin chill summer vibe on this stream. So, Shane, any opening thoughts? We don't do intros, but you and I are controlling the show. Opening thoughts, takeaways. I already see some questions in there about Brandon Ayuk, Chris Godwin, Rashid Shaheed. I mean, receivers are just dropping like flies. There's 2 or 3 of them a week that are going down. Sometimes multiple weeks, sometimes season enders. Listen, I'll share. I've made a lot of trades where, you know what, I lose Chris Godwin. See ya. If I can get replacement for him, that's cool. How about you?
I'll say this, and I've been thinking about this a lot as the weeks go by, and I do things like have to start Tyler Johnson or Kayshon Boutte or someone in that realm. I might have to check my stance on depth. I might like depth a little more than I did coming into this year because, I mean, injuries hit everyone, right? It just feels really heavy this year. Like it feels like a lot of my lineups, I'm just going, again, here we go again. But that's fantasy football, right?
Okay, I'm going to ask you that though, because isn't that actually the opposite, at least in a lot of our leagues? Why do you need depth when you can just go out and get depth when you need it? I haven't had problems filling in
good depth.
Okay, but what is defined as good depth? Because I would have told you that good depth is guys like Christian Kirk. That's a good depth piece.
Yeah, maybe a tier above. Maybe a Zay Flowers. Maybe a Jaden Reed. Maybe Devonta Smith. Maybe.
But those are real assets, though. Those don't just grow on trees. You don't just add 3 extra of those.
No, well, that's the point. But a lot of those dudes, I would look at my rosters and go, well, I've got 3, 4, 5 of these guys, so why don't I trade 2 of them? Because I don't need all 5 of these guys on my roster. They're redundant, and I'll just slide in whoever in the wide receiver 4. And then whoever, Buddha, Jesus, whatever you pray to, decided that was incorrect, and he was going to destroy, or she was going to destroy half my roster and leave me with, like I said, choices like Kayshon Boutte, or hoping, fingers crossed, I win Mason Tipton, Cedric Tillman, or Chris Conley.
Cedric Tillman absolutely crushed with his Trinity score this week, Shane. It might be a legit receiver there. What do you think?
What?
Cedric Tillman had a very good Trinity score this week.
He did. He absolutely smashed. All you can do is ask someone to what's the word I'm looking for? Produce when given the opportunity. He was given the opportunity. He produced. Now it's a 1-week sample. So let's see what that looks like next week and the week after. Yeah, Terrace Marshall got traded to the Raiders, apparently.
They signed with the Raiders, yeah.
Signed with the Raiders? Okay.
I think back to your comment about the depth, I actually think it's the opposite. Not to just totally disagree with you, but I think with the rate that leagues trade, with the rate that, I mean, I've had no problem. Now, you're going to end up paying a tax. If you have an injured Rashid Shaheed, he's not worth the same that he was before his injury. If you have an injured Chris Godwin, he's not the same that he was before his injury. But if you have those types of players, you can get depth pieces for them. If you're in a start 11, you can get an extra starter or 2. Like, that's not that hard. The more active your league is, you can find replacements. Well, I actually don't want to go into the season. Here's my plan. I think, is one of the new edges. And I'm going to talk about this more as we get to the end of the season on Destination Dynasty. I think the new edge in an active league that has competent managers is to actually not have your depth in anything volatile. If it's a start 11, give me 13 players to start the year. And if shit goes awry, I'll have to fix it as we go. I'll have to take some concessions on this player who lost value due to injury. I'll have to take some concessions on maybe a player over here that's not producing and another player at the same position or cross positionally that is producing. I'll have to kind of eat that quote unquote preseason trade value. But I don't think I need to go into the year and go, well, shit's going to break. I need to make sure I have an entire team on the bench to replace it, because I think you're holding all of your value in the wrong spots. The leagues I've been the most successful with, Shane, are where I have an extra second, extra third, extra second. I just throw those around as I need to patch holes in the boat. Okay. And as long as there's an active league that's willing to play ball.
Okay. But there's too many leagues where I've lost Ayuk and Debo and Godwin and Shaheed. Like, I have 4 or 5.
And you know what? You trade Godwin for Mooney. You trade Ayuk for,
you're getting watered down welfare.
Doesn't matter.
So you're jumping from, yes, it does.
Let's talk about those guys. Brandon Ayuk,
10 points a game.
Brandon Ayuk is not a top 36 receiver anymore. He is a guy. He'll be a 27 and a half. He's never been elite. His situation will never get better than it was that last year or this year. If you told me I'm getting Darnell Mooney for Brandon Ayuk, what's the difference? Better producer now, younger receiver now. What's the difference?
You keep tearing down to that. So then what happens next year when you lose another player and you need to trade Darnell Mooney? You know who you're getting? Cedric Tillman. Eventually, there's a bottom.
But we're talking about two different things here. You're saying the Ayuk value will bounce back to a level that Mooney will never get to. You think that's true?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Okay. So that's really all you're hanging your hat on, right?
There is still some bias to players that were thought of higher. Mooney, for all intents and purposes, I don't know if I used any of those words correctly. Mooney's not probably, I'm sure he was better than Ayuk this year. But he would never, even if he did that all year and Ayuk didn't shred his knee, he would have never reached Ayuk's trade value. Now, obviously, it's a moot point because Ayuk shredded his knee, so it is what it is.
Let's go to Godwin. Does Godwin ever bounce back to the point where he was, or is he entirely now, given that he'll be probably close to 30, because he's 28, he won't play again until he's mid-29, he'll be close to 30 when he truly produces again to a range where people say, I have to have him. Is that a different story because of where he is?
You saw people wrestling with themselves to trade first for Chris Godwin this year, and he was smashing.
Same with Cooper Kupp. Same with Stephon Diggs when he went to every time an old receiver appears to have the nuts situation or production, guess what? People go, man, I got to squint and look at that late first and say I'm fine sending it for the. And then how many times do you regret that deal in a month or 2 or 6 months? Every time.
Let's see. I traded a 2025 for Cooper Kupp the beginning of the season before my dude even got injured.
Is that after week 1 when it looked like he was going to get 24 targets a game, or is that before the season?
It was either before week 1 or right after. Either way, it was a 25 first I gave up for him and immediately regretted it. You know what I mean? The week 2. It didn't even go 2 weeks and he was gone.
So Mark puts this in there. We talked about this yesterday in the community. We did the instant injury show with Jeff. This is a perfect parallel. However, Godwin was a year younger than Ayuk when he shredded his knee. And you know how long we looked at Chris Godwin to start this season, how good he was producing? He was finally worth a first after about a month. Do you know how long it took for him to get from he tore his ACL in the playoffs to he was an asset that people actually coveted? It was 2.5 years. Yeah. I'm not saying Godwin and Ayuk are exactly the same, but we just have to remember that, Ayuk may get back there, but we may say in week 10 of 2026, he's back there, Shane. Do you want to wait that long?
That's a long time to wait. And I'll say this, too, about Godwin. Godwin had an elite season, and you mentioned
he was better than Ayuk.
Yes. Godwin has had elite seasons. Ayuk has never had an elite season. The point is that it took almost up until 2 weeks ago before people were like, you know what? Yes, I'll give up a first for Chris Godwin, because I know that for a fact, because in the 35 dynasty leagues that I'm in, I didn't see Chris Godwin traded for a first at any point up until the last few weeks. And then all of a sudden people were just like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to bite the bullet. Now, sure, Ayuk could hit that again in a year and a half, but that means also Ayuk's going to have to probably produce better than he's ever produced in his career to hit that range when he comes back from the injury.
Yeah, and that's one of those tear downs that you were talking about. If you wrestled with trading that late first for Godwin for weeks, and then you finally did it, and you only got one game. I mean, thank goodness last night he still put up 22 points before he got injured. So at least he went out with
a bang.
You know, it's better than he went out with 1 point, screwed you, and was out for the season. So at least he helped you one more week. But now you're left with, okay, let's talk Godwin. What can you actually get for him, Shane? I just traded him today. I traded Chris Godwin for Keenan Allen and Tyrone Tracy. Is that a bailout for me?
Yeah, I like that. You got Keenan and Tyrone Tracy.
It was a start 11. Was I getting anything better? No. So I just accepted it. I didn't haggle. I'm not going to go, okay, I need a third. You know what I mean? Like I have no leverage. I look at Godwin and Keenan Allen as essentially what can they do for me until they stop doing anything for me? They're the same exact thing.
You want to know something crazy? So I obviously I've been sending out offers to buy, sell Godwin, Ayuk, depending on the situation. Me and you made one deal. I have not made one Godwin deal either way. Not one Godwin deal. I've made Rashid Shaheed deals and I've made Brandon Ayuk deals. I've also even combined those two, a little menage a trois action with those two and me, trading Shaheed and Ayuk for pieces. I've made a couple deals with that. Man, and maybe I'm a little what's the word I'm looking for? Jaded, because it does seem like every team that I have if I have Ayuk, that means I have Godwin or I have Debo or I have Shaheed on the roster. And in some cases, all three, and in one case, all four. So maybe I'm a little jaded because it seems like I got punched in the dick repeatedly by the same person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By the same thing. So that's probably a little jaded. And what's crazy is I don't have that much of them in my portfolio. It's like I have 5, 6 of each, and somehow they're all on the same team somehow. So whatever.
Yeah, there were a couple teams where I woke up today and I go, "Ooh, let me try to send an offer for Ayuk or Godwin." It's like the poor same squad has both.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, it sucks. It sucks that both of them happen in the same weekend. Like your team goes from good to destroyed.
And Debo thrown in there with pneumonia. Because at least on the Ayuk rosters where I also had Debo, I went, well, I got Debo. And then I listened to the injury pod last night because I didn't see it at work. And I heard you guys talking about Debo being in the hospital and saw that he has pneumonia and said, well, never mind.
So here's a question from, I think it's Spacenfeld. Should be only used first to acquire assets that will hold value. I mean, ideally, you want to probably use a first on something where you say it has at least one mulligan to where it's going to hold its value at least for into the off season a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, most assets are not going to hold their value into the off season because the reason people covet them is because of what they're doing in the season. That's 90% of players.
Yeah.
But I do think if you're buying something for a first, that is, even if they don't have a high ceiling, if you're buying something decent in their prime, let's just say you're buying somebody like DJ Moore, right? Like he's not young, but he's not expiring after this year. He's still going to be in his prime probably another year or two. So technically his demand should get back to a range where as soon as we get closer to the season, he should be treated similarly to he is right now, unless he's not producing or he's injured. Now, nobody's going to really want him at his peak price in May when everyone's talking rookies, but he's not somebody where you go, man, the collapse could come in the off season. So how do you approach this question? Because this is always the debate. Should I give up a late first? And it's always a late first. But I see some first moves, Shane, but then I look at the team and they're like in 5th place. That ain't a late first yet. You got work to do. And if it doesn't work, you just traded the 105 for Cooper Kupp, which is even worse. So how do you play this? How do you determine when to pull the trigger on that first, knowing, and let's assume here you only have one. You don't have 3. You don't have one you can throw away and go play with to get 2 pieces or something like that. Like you only have one. You made the decision. You think it's going to take your first to get you something over the top, or you have to add to an injured Ayuk to get something better. Like that's the type of deal. How do you approach this question?
So if anyone watched Shane Says last week, I did a draft based on Moore. I'm 4-0 after last week. I haven't traded for any future first. I had 125 first. It's juiced scoring for RB. So go check out that Chain Says episode. I'll get into the scoring on it, but just know that the RB scoring is absolutely juiced. Well, here you go. Someone offered me Derrick Henry. Like I said, I'm 4-0, third overall in points. So I looked at just to see the scoring because, like I said, it's juiced. Derrick Henry scored over 20 points in every game. I think he scored 30 points in a couple of them. So you know what? I don't have utility with that player. You know what I mean? Like as soon as I buy that, that's burnt. But I'm going for the title. That's how I'm looking at it. And it's a mid-season league. So obviously there's less build up. So obviously one loss can hurt more than it normally would. But based on what my team looks like, I think I'm fine. But usually if I'm shipping it first, it's like you said, I need some more utility out of that player. I need it to be DJ Moore when it's that single first, as an example, as a player that's 26, 27, that even if I don't win the title this year because of that move, at least I still have that asset for next year. And it's a good enough asset that if I need to trade him, that he's going to recoup some of that value for me. That's not the most determining factor. Like, can I recoup value? But that is something that I like to look at. But it's also, I'll look at the rest of my roster, and I've talked about this a lot of times too. Do I have other parachutes that if everything goes wrong, do I have other players that I can move to get first back if I need to, if just everything goes wrong?
So here's when I got it in the inbox right now. I've been sitting on it for a couple hours, so I'm going to get your take. So it's a 14-team start 11. Okay, and these are things that I usually look at to kind of determine how strong my team actually is. I'm 5-2, but again, it's a 14-team league, start 11. I'm 5-2, so I'm technically in fourth place. But Shane, I have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have the 9th most potential points. So maybe a little fraudulent, right? Like my potential points are lower. Now, I've purposely not kept a lot of depth on this team, which has helped me because I've captured most of the points that I have, right? Like I've started them. I don't have a lot of like points that I'm leaving on the bench. I have almost a 90% efficiency rate in terms of sit start. So I have the highest efficiency rate other than one other team in the league, which is good. I'm largely capturing the points that I have available to me. My all play record is just under 500. There are 6 teams better than me. So I truly am like kind of a middle of the pack team that I'm an injury or two away of being able to tank the team to the 104, right? Like I'm pretty close, but I got offered, and it's a 14-team start 11, 2 PPR for tight ends. I got offered Derrick Henry for my own first. Now I do have another first of a team that's literally the same as me. We're both kind of in the middle, but they want my first over the other first. But Derrick Henry for a 25 first. And a 4th, which the 4th I don't really care about on a 14-teamer. But I have that option. The other option I have is I have also the same deal, but I have to give up a 3rd as well, and I get Zach Ertz, which in a 2 PPR, it's another starter. You know, my only tight end's Dalton Schultz, which ain't that great. But I'm facing this exact same question. This is my first. My team is 5-2, but I would say it's a little bit of a fraudulent 5-2. I just won this week with the 3rd lowest score. And thank goodness I played the lowest score. So I'm a little bit of a fraudulent 5-2. Are you pulling that trigger on Derrick Henry, giving up my first? It's in my inbox. And I imagine he's probably sent the offer to a couple other teams, would be my guess.
So what's the rest of the pack look like? So
here's what I'm rolling out. I'll tell you what I'm rolling out.
Not your team. The rest of the league. Are there a bunch of 4-3 teams?
There's a 7-0. There are 3 teams that are 5-2 or 6-1, and there are 3 more teams that are 4-3. So I would say
you're literally a loss from being the 104.
Yeah, and there is a 3-4 team that has 120 more points than me. So he has gotten unlucky, whereas I've gotten lucky. I would say right now it is a 8-team race for 6 spots. The other thing is the 6th playoff spot is most points. Record does not matter.
So it's really, you got to be a top 5.
So yeah, if I lose one game, I'm out of the playoffs because there's no way I have the points over those teams that are below me by record. Right. So it's, but you know, if you're trading a first for a guy like Henry, you want to get the deal done because this team is willing to trade him. But B, I
Two,
don't want to
obviously
wait
your
3
teams.
more weeks because, I
Right.
mean, like, he plays the Browns. He could smash this week. You know what I mean?
It doesn't
Like,
even, yeah, it doesn't even matter who he plays because he's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
He's just the human embodiment of terror. Like if terror was a human, it's him. And you know, and there is always you add him to your roster, you're obviously upgrading your team. If I'm doing this deal, I'm doing the Ertz part of it too, because for the price of a third, whatever, sure, throw in Ertz.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a team that I think I've probably.
And you still have another first.
I still have another first, and the other benefit is if I do this, I'm kind of picking my lane between my first. The other team is literally right next to me in the standings, so if I can push him down a spot or two, it actually helps my other first. So do you think having the other first makes this decision easier for you?
Yeah, because when you only have the one. Dude, it's a lonely ass feeling when you look at your roster and go, okay, let me move a 25. There's none left. The next pick's 2026. Like that, we're dead. We're just dead in the water. We have no outs. Again, obviously we could move players, but that's a whole other thing. I think I'd make the deal. I think I'd make it. And now it should be known that I've traded for Derrick Henry twice in my life, and those are the only times he's ever gotten injured. So it's almost guaranteed that he's getting injured next week. Knock on wood that it doesn't happen.
The same team as Christian McCaffrey. Would you rather have him?
No.
I just throwing it out there. I'm guessing I could send the same offer and get Christian McCaffrey instead, but I'd have to wait at least 3 more weeks to get him. And
2 to 3 more weeks for him to actually play. And then, sure, when he plays, he could be amazing, or he could, I don't know, twist his.
He could have a setback, given that every 49er tends to have terrible luck.
Yeah, like literally, the only thing you have to worry about for Henry is a freak injury, right? There's nothing lingering. I know he doesn't catch the ball, but he had a receiving touchdown last night, but generally he doesn't catch the ball. But that does not matter. We talked about this it was either the Friday drive or the Monday drive, in our Discord. I don't remember which one it was, but I was talking about I don't care anymore with Derrick Henry. He could be 35 years old, and I'm probably going to end up spending a first on him somewhere.
He's going to have a couple bad games, but when his good games hit, it is usually a lot of yards and a touchdown every time.
Last night was his bad game. He had like 14 yards in the first half, and then he came out and said, you know what? I'm just going to rip off a 70-yard run, and then I'm going to have a receiving touchdown, and then I'm going to still run for another 60 yards after that 70-yard run. So, I'll do it.
This isn't one of those where you say TD regression, because he's probably going to score 25 touchdowns.
No, you can't. And that's the thing about that. All the normal qualifiers that you could say about most players.
Yeah.
You can't use on him. Like Devontae Adams at his peak. You could go, well, his touchdown rate is just unsustainable. It's not sustainable.
But he's done it for 5 years in a row.
Right. So eventually you're just like, this is who they are. You know what I mean? Like there's certain humans that are outliers. And why wouldn't it be Derrick Henry, a man that's 6'4", 250 and runs like a fourth rate?
Yep.
But just as an aside, when you were talking about that, some of the deals I have been making or trying to make too is where I have picks for teams that are like the 6, 7, or 8 seed or 5 seed. I'm trying to trade to the teams ahead of them or right below them, if I have their pick, to strengthen that team. Now, unfortunately, I don't know if everyone's trying to play along with me here because they're not taking the deals, but that's what I'm trying to do because I'm offering good deals, but unfortunately, people are stupid. But that's the other thing I'm trying to do. When I have people's picks, I'm trying to make the teams above or below them, specifically below them, if I could, stronger so that they can pass them and push them down so the pick's even better.
Yeah, that's an interesting strategy. We talked about that last week in the Discord of like sometimes you got to go to the other teams and just like give them points because it helps you in some ass backwards way, whether it's potential points or it drives down one of the picks that you have. So, all right, good stuff. Let's get to a super chat. We got Jason put one in here. Oh, Jason, thank you for the super chat. It is a 12x9 super flex, half-point tight end premium, 6-point per passing touchdown. We have Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Michael Penix, Chase Higgins, Zay Flowers, JSN, Gibbs, Jonathan Brooks, Chuba Hubbard, Chase Brown, Tank Bigsby, Cans, and we're rolling out Dalton Kincaid and Tucker Kraft at tight end. So that's a pretty good team there, Shane. Like it's a start 9. We have I think that's a pretty good team for a start 9. Don't have too much depth, but we have 225 firsts, seconds, and all other picks. But we're in 5th place with a 3-4 record, 3rd in potential points, or points for. So like the opposite of the team that I just described. Like this team should probably be better than it is. Is this a team to buy a hammer or sell off to avoid being stuck in the middle? 2 inbox offers. First one, give Kyler, get Stroud. That you would have been against that, but I think at this point would you take Stroud? What are you doing there? Kyler for Stroud.
Kyler for Stroud. So I'm getting Stroud.
You're getting Stroud in a 6 point per passing touchdown. I think I'd rather have Burrow, Stroud than I would hold on to Kyler. Kyler could be a falling knife at some point.
Meh. Look, I'll admit to this. I'm trying to move Kyler, and I tried to move him off of last night, hoping people didn't actually watch the game or the box score and just looked up and said, 23 points. That's excellent.
He had 10.4 points on one run.
Yeah. So, again, I'm hoping no one watched the box score. They just look and go, hey, 22-point night. That's a good night for Kyler. What is CJ Stroud overall? QB?
Yeah, I think he's like QB 16. It's not great. But I think I'm taking Stroud in a 6 point per passing touchdown league. It feels like I have.
Gives you no rushing upside.
No.
He's shown you what he is without Nico Collins, which is a slightly.
But he's going to get Nico Collins back. He probably has a ceiling in a 6 point that Kyler doesn't have. Now, this team's 3-4. It needs to win. I don't know if CJ Stroud's helping you win over the next 2 weeks, but I don't know.
For that, I'll just hold on to Kyler and hope that we get more runs. All I can hope is that Drew Petzing, is that his name? Petzing? I can't pronounce it. I hope that bald fucking moron looks at last night and goes, you know what? You know what we should probably do? Let's fucking run Kyler once in a while instead of Clayton Tune up the fucking middle, you fucking moron. That's my hope. I don't know.
You feel a certain way about the Cardinals offense, Shane.
It's a terrible, terrible, terrible offense, but neither here nor there. I think I'll hold on to Kyler there. But I can see if you want to go Stroud.
Yeah, I lean Stroud just because it's a 6 point per passing touchdown league. He's going to get Nico Collins back in a couple weeks. It feels like you are doing a fairly neutral pivot in terms of impact to your team, and you're giving yourself more outs with Stroud. Just
more likely. Like Stroud is more. He's what's the word I'm looking for? The market likes him better than Kyler.
And Nico comes back, and Stroud goes for 303 touchdowns. Like people will be right back in. Maybe not QB 2-3, because what does that even mean anymore? But I do think you have a lot more of a leash with Stroud in terms of what you can do with him. The other deal he had was, and remember, this is a start 9. Give Jahmyr Gibbs, get 2 mid-25 firsts. This is a fair deal. You're probably not getting more for a running back. But Shane, on this team, and here's the team. Let me put it back up for you. On this team, it's 3-4 with this lineup. Are you trading away Gibbs off this team? You're then starting Chuba Hubbard and Chase Brown for 2 mid-firsts. It would give us 4 of the 12 firsts. Is that hedging our bets on? And keep in mind, we're in the playoffs here. We're 5th place. We're 3rd in potential points. We're going to get, hopefully if we do the Stroud deal, we get a boost with Stroud coming back. We get Jonathan Brooks coming back. I mean, what are you doing?
I'm not moving Gibbs.
Okay.
I should be moving Gibbs, but I need another player back with Gibbs, and it'd probably have to be a good one.
What if I told you could move Gibbs for the 2 firsts, and then you could turn around and you could trade Michael Penix and one of those firsts and get like Derrick Henry and another starter, something like that? Would you do that and replace Gibbs with one of the older running backs?
Yeah, just as an aside, I'm sorry, I'm reading through the notes here. Someone in the chat said that there was a rumor of Puka having a setback. I don't know. Adam Schefter just tweeted 5 hours ago that they've opened his practice window.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about that, but if it's actually legitimate, let us know.
Let's see if this is the real Adam Schefter, first of all. Yes, it is. Yeah, they've opened up the 21-day window, so I don't know about any kind of injury there. Anywho, so I could then move Penix and the first for who? A quarterback?
Well, what I'm thinking here is that if I can move Gibbs for the 2 firsts, I can bank one of the first, and then I can maybe shift to a deal where I move somebody like Penix plus one of the first and recoup. You're not getting Gibbs production, but you're probably getting.
No, but you know what you can do?
You could get something that doesn't have the dynasty value, because I don't care about dynasty value at running back. All it is convenience with somebody like Gibbs. Is I'm probably going to get multiple years of him kind of being what he is, but I don't care about that right now. If I can pivot to, somebody else, sure.
Can you go look at the non-contenders in your league, and is there a running back on their roster that's worth a first after you give up Gibbs for 2 firsts and then bank a first if you still want the running back production? Because you could just turn around and trade for David Montgomery for a singular first, probably.
What if you could get Achane?
Yes. I'm doing that. With Tua coming back, the savior, everything's fine.
And every league market is different in terms of what those running backs, especially the ones that are producing now, what they cost. But I think that's the line of thinking, is the 2 firsts for Gibbs isn't a bad deal, especially if there's another deal that can be had where you can kind of replace the spot that Gibbs is in currently with something else. So think about that. It gives you 2 firsts. You would have 4. You should have an open market for the next couple weeks to use one of those firsts to help your team and just kind of bank the value of Gibbs's value at the 2 first level.
Yep.
Let's see what you want to put up from the chat. Let's go to a chat comment. There were some good ones that we starred. Here's one. Come on. You got a 25 first and Wandale for Ayuk. I mean, that's just a godsend offer, Shane. You could have stopped at the first and then you get Wandale thrown in. Yeah, come on.
You couldn't even get a first for his ass.
Apparently Matt from X did. So congrats. I mean, that's the kind of deal where when you make deals like that, why would you play any other way, Shane, if you can make deals like this? Oh, my guy blew out his entire knee. I'll just
buy him,
recoup his full value with a guy that was scoring more points per game, and I'll just cash out, and your problem, my problem now becomes your problem,
Bravo, bro. Bravo. I'm proud of you, man. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah, good job, Matt. Let's see. You want to hit a hammer?
Yeah, let's hammer. We got a couple more in there. Those do get priority.
Actually, I think this one is not a hammer, but we'll throw it in there anyway. It was in the queue. That's probably what we were going to start the trade with. Saquon or Jaden Reed, 12-team, start 10, 1.75 tight end premium. What side are you going here?
Saquon.
Not even close.
I like Jaden Reed. I like Jaden Reed a lot. But you can't ignore what Saquon's doing. You just flat out cannot ignore it. It's ignorable. That's not a word. That's not a correct word. But it's not something you can ignore. He's absolutely destroying worlds right now. So yeah, let me get Saquon on that one. Like Reed, but this isn't the way I'd go about trying to get Reed.
Garbage into gold, 2 hammers, 12-team Superflex, start 10, 1.75 tight end premium, 6 point per passing touchdowns. Appreciate the way you guys make us think outside the box. First year of the startup. I have half the picks in 2025. 6 firsts, 2 seconds, etc. Currently have the 102, me, 103, and 4 mid to late firsts. Max points for declares the draft order. Team is Burrow, Kyler, 9 backup quarterbacks. Well done. Cans at receiver, so no receivers even worth noting. Devin Singletary, Tajay Spears, Zach Charbonnet, Braylon Allen, Blake Corum, Jordan Mason, Isaac Garendo. And then he says CeeDee Lamb and Garrett Wilson went on the block from a competing team who he has their firsts. They've also traded their 26 firsts away. They want a RB wide receiver packages with injuries at running back, Stevenson, Aaron Jones, James Cook. So this question was probably before.
Cook's back, baby.
Yeah, all those guys were back. In fact, I mean, Aaron Jones, I sat
Aaron Jones smashed.
He's top 8 running back on the week.
Absolutely smashed, bro. Stevenson, not so much.
Yeah. But here we are. I mean, this is a total tank. Our only assets of note were Burrow, Kyler, 6 firsts, 2 seconds. So we're loaded at picks. Interesting way to build we built kind of a Not a terrible running back room, Shane, on a team where we absolutely do not have anything else other than 2 QBs. But Garrett Wilson and CeeDee Lamb went on the block from a competing team. I can't imagine. I mean, you have no receivers to give them. So the RB plus receiver package isn't going to work. But do you see any moves this team could make? I mean, you have some running backs. You have a Jordan Mason. You have pieces you could give them, but not at the level of CeeDee Lamb.
No, I mean, you would have to give them literally every running back you have. And then you have no wide receivers to include in the deal, so you can't do the package part. Go back real quick. I guess you could also just take a look at like who is their quarterback. Is there a way that you could downgrade from Burrow, as long as the quarterback isn't that much of a drop or that significant of a drop, and get CD somehow involved in that type of deal? But like Spears, Charbs, Allen, Corum, Mason, I just don't see how you get there with those pieces. Now, they don't have a 26 first, so you could maybe entice them with a 26 first if you have it.
Well, it's a 6-point per passing touchdown league. So would you be willing to give one of your running backs, let them pick whoever? I mean, they probably want Mason, Corum, Charbonnet. I mean, pick your poison. What level of pick would you be willing to trade for, let's say, CeeDee Lamb? Would you be willing to give up the 102 and Jordan Mason for CeeDee Lamb on this team?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Garrett Wilson.
Hold on. How many starters are we talking again?
It's a start 10.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And we still have 5 first. That's our best. That would be our best first, but that's probably the type of pick it would take. You're not getting CeeDee Lamb for, would you rather give up 2 of the I'm trying to talk through what to do in this situation, because I'm guessing this person is kind of thinking, I need to build out a team. Would you rather give up 2 firsts and a second and Mason or Corum, or the 102 on this team that has no other assets? Doesn't it feel like kind of the 1-for-1 is a better deal?
I gotta say this. I would be fine with either, to be quite honest with you, and not to be a cop out, because then the 102 I can split most likely into 2 first, even if one's this year and one's in 2026, 2025 and 2026, not this year. But preferably, you always want to give up the later picks, right? You want to try to give up the latest first you could, 2 late first for CeeDee Lamb, and just hope that it doesn't turn into Brian Thomas Jr. this year. So if you could do that, I guess I would prefer to give up the late first, mid to late first, if I could, if possible, and Blake Corum and Jordan Mason, and I'll give you Tajay Spears, who will come back at some point this season.
Yeah, it's a good question. Thank you for the Hammers garbage into gold, because it's one of those where clearly you intended to punt, and then there's teams that are trading players that you're interested in, and all you really have to move is picks. So. All right. Appreciate those Tammers. Let's see what else we got in here. Any other interesting hammers? Here's one. Tom Maldonado sent us a hammer. Started 2-4, 12-team start 10, lead the league in points, 4 and against.
Ooh, nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, one of those teams is probably better than the record for sure. Kyler, Dak, Herbert, Monty, Gibbs, CMC, Mason, White, Irving. Man, some tough running back decisions on this team.
Uh-huh.
You're probably sitting the Buccaneers guys during the weeks they're smashing, just given the fact that it's only start 10.
Dude, just play them both, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but here's the problem. You have Kareem Hunt, too. You're missing out on the fact that he's absolutely killing things.
But and you also have the upgraded version, like the pro version. You know how the phones have the cheap version and then the pro version? They have the pro version of the White Irving backfield and the Monty Gibbs backfield. So, yeah, anyway.
Man, look at this roster. Those running backs, Gibbs, CMC, Monty, Mason, White, Irving, Hunt, A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Debo, Adams, JSN, Marvin Harrison, DJ Moore. Talk about just a nightmare of – I see why this – I bet you, without even looking at the numbers for this team, I bet you the sit, start, correct efficiency on this team, Shane, is awful.
Yes.
I bet you it's sub 80%, and you're wondering – no wonder this team is top in points. Because there's just a lot of points. I bet you the potential points of this team is sky high as well. You just have only captured like 75% of them instead of, more, given you had less decisions. So anyway, that's the roster. It's a 12-by-10. We started off. Do you think this team won in week 7, given what they probably started? They probably started Kyler, Herbert, Monty, Gibbs, Mason, Hunt, A.J. Brown.
AJ gave you 20
I don't
points.
know, bro. I bet you they started Debo, JSN,
Okay,
Marv.
Kyler and Herbert each gave you 20 points. They got there in different ways. Gibbs gave you 30 points. White, hopefully he started White.
Didn't start. I guarantee you didn't start White. It's a start 10. So you started Monty, Gibbs, Mason, I'm guessing.
Okay, if you started if you started AJ Brown, there's another 23 points. You started
Debo,
Adams,
0.
Hate everything, 8. McBride, what did he give you?
Debo.
About 12, 13 points last night. Marv, nothing. DJ, yeah. Look, if this is best ball, he absolutely smashed.
Oh yeah, but it's lineup. It's a start 10. So anyway, I'm thinking I need to stay the course and things will even out. I kind of want to know if he went 2-5 or he's 3-4. If I'm 2-5, it feels like week 7 was just a continuance of what has killed me. Because I mean, I bet you this team did not start Hunt or the Tampa Bay guys, and they scored like 90 points combined.
He had to start.
75.
He had to start Hunt because Hunt's been smashing every week.
You never
know. And he had to start
you
Irving because everybody in the community is blowing Irving. So he definitely started.
Only a start 10, man. You got to start 3 receivers. Anyway, let's just say he won. Okay. He's 3-4. Are you just staying the course? I'll tell you what I'm doing on this team. Here's the roster. I don't want this many decisions.
No.
Can I trade one of my? I mean, I'm actually not. The quarterbacks aren't even the problem here. The problem is like you're not. If you have the Detroit running backs, guess what? You're not doing ever sitting them.
No,
so those are 2 of your starters. When CMC comes back, he's one of your starters.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm trying to sell Bucky Irving. I'm trying to sell Kareem Hunt. I don't care if I can't get, I get a second for Bucky Irving. I can get a third for Kareem. Like I don't even need these guys. You know what I mean?
26 second for Irving, 26 second for Hunt. This is one of those where that's their name. I've changed their name on my sleeper. That's their name. Any second rounder, 26 or 25.
Can I package 20. Bucky and JSN and get a 25 first?
There might be someone foolish enough to do that, but sure, you could try that. Or you know what? And if that doesn't work, here's Hunt, here's Bucky Irving, and JSN. Here's a 3-for-1. Let me get your first. 26.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, though, right? Like this team going forward is going to have a night. The problem that you've run into, Tom, is not going to get fixed. You have too many pieces for a start 10. You're going to just kick yourself every week because you're not starting, and you have, we have the whole Lions backfield, the Niners backfield, the Buccaneers backfield. Like we have these backfields, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're not going to ever pick right between them. So yeah, shed some players for some liquidity and, kind of good luck righting the ship on the luck factor with the record. So
yep.
Let's go to the chat. Those are a couple of hammers. Throw up one of the ones you want to put up.
Jason, yes, we're doing super chats. Hide.
Yeah, he already gave one.
Okay, I'm just telling you. Here's a super chat. Bubba Pap, 88. 12-team Superflex start 10. Trade Allen for Purdy, BTJ in a second. He has
Bubba Pap.
Yes, it is. It's Bubba Pap.
It's Bubba P.
Yeah,
you threw in an extra PAP in there. Anyway, go ahead.
12-team Superflex start 10. Trade Joshua Allen for Brock Purdy, BTJ in a second. He has Hurts and Mayo also. Thanks, dudes. No, I'm not doing this. I like BTJ as much as the next guy. Purdy ran for 2 touchdowns this week. Get out of here. That's not.
If that's a first, are you doing it?
I'd be more apt to, but I probably am not doing this. You know what? I'll tell this dude I will give you. I might make this deal for Hurts, maybe.
Or no, you're not getting that level of liquidity.
Well, then I'm not making the deal.
You're not taking Purdy, BTJ, and a 25 first for Allen. That's no. You can't get a better package than something like that.
I don't always have to sell things.
Okay.
I can.
Josh Allen is untouchable. What would you trade Josh Allen for? Nothing.
Hurts and an early first.
You also have Hurts on this team, so that idea for Bubba Pab is out.
Jaden Daniels and
come on.
Why am I moving Josh Allen?
Okay.
He went through his bad stretch already this year. It's over. Just get ready for the 40-point games. They're coming.
Okay,
I like
so would
BTJ.
you trade Drake May for Brian Thomas Jr. in a second if this team's desperate to get a quarterback? That's probably their goal, is to get a
If they're
quarterback.
desperate, then they need to give me Purdy and Brian Thomas Jr. for May.
Okay.
No, I don't know if they want to do that because May's had 2 really good games, yes, but they have been against absolute. Well, one was a trash can and one was a lot of garbage stuff. But either way, May looks amazing. I love Drake May. No, I'm not doing this deal. I'll move Hurts or May later, dude. I could probably get a top 10 receiver for Hurts. Not May so much, not yet, but I'm not making this deal.
Okay, fair enough. All right, we had a quick one in here. Got old Theo again. He dropped us a question. Here's one for us. I know where Scott will be. Let's see if Shane does know, or Theo knows where I will be. Michael Pittman and a 25-second or Ayuk FFPC single QB league. So I already know where I'm at with this one, and it's this speaks to what I said earlier, but I'll let you answer. Go ahead.
Well, it's start 8 though, right?
It is a single QB start 8, so you're able to start 2 receivers, 2 flexes. So, I mean, receivers matter. Running backs and receivers matter more here because it's shallower rosters. Quarterback doesn't matter as much because it's single QB. The second is, it's an asset. What do you think?
It is an asset. I mean, I don't like Pittman at all, especially what's going on. He's pretty much useless right now.
I like him better than Ayuk.
Well, he can walk. So yes, there's that.
I'm just saying there is a world where the Colts offense gets better and AKA or Flacco comes back in. Like there's a world where Pittman is usable versus Ayuk is not.
And a second isn't very valuable in this. It is an asset. It's not very valuable in this. Oh, well, no, you get the second and Pittman. The second, so
exactly. A second, I'm looking at that as an asset I can store. And in 2 weeks, if I need to buy, the next version of insert whoever, I can buy that with the second. You know what I mean? Like I can buy next week's Devin Singletary type with a second. Like that's how I view the second. It's just a throwaway piece, but I'm getting the plus on top of.
Ayuk can't walk.
Yeah.
There's like you said, to your point, there's a world where the Colts offense improves. In no world in which we are a part of, not in our timeline, is Ayuk going to be producing for you this year. Absolutely not. And it's not like Ayuk is such a valuable asset or a high-end player that you're going to live to regret this.
Yep. Good stuff. Well, thank you, Theo. If you could unstar that one for me, Shane. Let's go to another hammer here.
I have to hide it.
Yeah, you hide it. Y'all rock. Love listening in every week. This is a 12x11 super flex, 1.5 tight end premium. Quarterbacks are Mahomes and Lamar. Man, it feels good to have Lamar on teams. Every Lamar team I have is like every other piece of the roster just can be whatever, and you're probably in the mix.
You probably are when your quarterback is throwing for 5 touchdowns. Yes.
Etienne, Monty, Stevenson, Pacheco, Pollard, Kupp, Adams, Terry McLaurin, Stephon Diggs, Tyler Lockett. Man, this got a retirement home receiver core there. When Terry McLaurin is the young buck in the room, you're probably a little bit in trouble. Kincaid and Ingram. So that's the team. Probably being carried by Lamar. We've had some injuries at both running back and receiver. You can flex probably both of those tight ends if you wanted to in this format. So grab Terry McLaurin for a 25-second in week 2. That's been good if you've been playing him. You've already returned your investment there if you've been starting him. So that's good. Diggs for a 26-second and Luke McCaffrey. That's fine. Then traded T. Higgins for Cooper Kupp, a 26-second, a 26th third. This question was before the end of week 7. So I'm sure either you're 5-1 or you're 5-2. Guessing the fact that you had Lamar Jackson and you had a couple of these other guys. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you are 5-2, but playoffs feel in sight. So insight, which I think is at insight now. Insight, but don't feel like I'm winning at all. Cannot get a first for Terry McLaurin. Probably can't get a first for any receivers unless you could move Cooper Kupp for a first right now. Can't tear off Mahomes. So we're gridlocked, Shane, which makes sense because we have all old players and or injured or non-performing running backs, and then Lamar Jackson. Any advice here for this team?
So it's Clay wanted me to mention this guy actually said this is his retirement home team. And he is right. Well, let's see. We can't move absolutely any of the wide receivers. So that leaves us
Would
Kincaid
you
or
move Cup?
Ingram.
If you could get a first for Cup, would you do it?
Yes,
Because you're probably super excited to lock him in the lineup. But this
yes.
is
I still need some flexibility here, man. I need some. What are we doing? And 2 years is a freaking lifetime away. Who gives a shit? But I would like to move. If I can move any of these old people for a first, they're going.
26 first.
Yeah, because in 26, Adams is going to be retired. Cup is going to be retired. Terry will be 34. Diggs will be on his 4th NFL team because he'll have punched CJ Stroud in the face, and Lockett will be retired.
No,
Kincaid,
Lockett will be the one still playing because he doesn't ever get hit.
Kincaid, I will still be complaining about the fact that he doesn't get enough snaps. So yeah, I would definitely move him for a first. I mean, outside of moving Lamar, which you don't want to do, there's not a lot of places to move here. I mean, there might be someone in your league that's willing to give you a first for Monty, only because Monty's absolutely smashing. But
I mean, I don't look at one asset on this roster other than Lamar that is ascending that people are clamoring to send you offers for.
Yeah.
So probably, and this is just a rule of thumb for teams like this, the players that you feel most comfortable going forward helping you are going to be the ones other people want. Nobody's going to really be pounding the table to get your Devontae Adams.
Absolutely not.
But your Cooper Kupp, okay, yeah, if they announce tomorrow Cooper Kupp's full, good to go, they expect him to be right back into his role that he had in week 1, people are going to be going, man, I'm excited again. Now, that excitement could wane very quickly, but you may have to take advantage of these short-term windows where somebody goes, okay, I want to buy into Isaiah Pacheco because he's coming back. I want to buy into Kupp because he's coming back. Like, you're going to want to play the guys, but those are going to be the ones you probably have to sell in that moment, that fleeting moment where you don't want to do it because you want them to help you win because you are trying to contend at the same time. You're going to have to bite the bullet on probably 1 or 2 pieces and just bank that. I mean, listen, Shane, if Lamar doesn't keep smashing, this team's not winning. That's your only prayer. So yeah, you have to just bank on your 10 other starters just having some spike weeks along the way, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all right, cool.
Bubba Pap. It's me again. Yes, Wilson. Harrison. Dunze. Mooney. Bowers. Kansas running back. Out of competing this year and have 2 projected early to mid first and 2 seconds. I'm going to go back and see if there's another
Shane got so excited to start to drive that he lost control of the steering wheel.
Was there another Bubba Pat comment? Hold on.
I don't know. You're the one that's starring the supers. Things don't run as officially when we only have 2 of us.
Me again. I have Wilson. Bubba, where's the rest of this comment?
Out of competing this year, and maybe that's it. That doesn't really give us anything actionable to answer, but hey. Yeah, let's move on because we only got maybe 20 more minutes or so. Unless you got it.
No, definitely not. Bubba, if you see this and there's a second part to this, just hit us up, bro.
Go ahead.
Matt Galore. Start 7, 1 quarterback, PPR, non-tight end premium. He traded JSN Pitts in a 25 first and a 27 second for Marvin Harrison, Jay Polk, and Raymond Wilson. Polk and Wilson. Have JD5, Bijan, Brooks, Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Rice.
Did you not get the second part of this one either?
There is literally no second part. I feel like people are.
Well, let's just assess the trade. It's a start 7. We gave up a lot of stuff for Marvin Harrison. I mean, I know he's struggling a little bit, but just based on principle, are you willing to give up 3 for 1 when it's a mid first and a 1 QB, Kyle Pitts and a non-tight end premium and JSN for Marv?
Start 7. Yeah. Look, Marv has struggled, but he hasn't struggled so far that I'm going to be like moving on or what's the word I'm looking for? Reticent to make this deal. I would absolutely make this deal.
Yeah. I think the key is here, you probably gave up a bunch of stuff that you would have to trade individually to recoup its value, and you were able to get 1 piece for 3 pieces in 1. So like that deal.
We do like that deal, and his second piece was just saying, I thank you guys. Neighbors or the 101. 10 teams, super flex.
Neighbors.
FPPR, start a lot.
10 team. Easy.
Yes, we like the neighbors. We like neighbors a lot.
Clean a couple of these up. I had another one that I wanted to answer because it was addressed to me specifically. Scott, with keeping a slim roster, how do you handle bye weeks? I mean, the short answer is you kind of have to estimate what the market activity is in your league. A lot of our leagues are active. If I need something, I can generally pay for it. Now, the key is I have to pay for it. Like you have to get into the mindset that when you are buying, like I'm in a 2 QB league, Shane, have to start 2 QBs, start 12. I've kind of operated on the margins every week. I have 2 starters, a bunch of backups. Last week, Dak Prescott was on bye. Of the 10 backups I was holding, none of them were starting. So I had to stomach it and send a third for Mason Rudolph. Now it's Mason Rudolph. He sucks. But you know what? He scored 11 points, which was 11 points I would have taken a 0 on. I had to give up a third for him. And you know what he is now? Back to a trash can. He's a backup. He's probably only going to start again. Maybe if I don't even need him when he starts again. But the point is, like, I'm willing to play hey, I don't have a quarterback this week. Who wants to trade me Mason Rudolph? Now it's Mason Rudolph. I'm also banking that if Shane has Mason Rudolph, even if Shane is contending, Shane doesn't care about him. If you're going to give me a third, you can have him. So the deal works for both of us. So that's the answer. If the first thing you tell me about your league is it is inactive and nobody even responds to the trades, it's probably not good to play I can fill a hole when I need it game, because you literally do not have access to half of the market because nobody responds. If that's your league economy, it's totally different. But a lot of our leagues, like, they're not like that. You know, I put something in the chat, there's a deal done in an hour or less. So it isn't that hard to operate on the slim margins every week and just play it that way. Let's see. What else you want to throw up here? Let's do a hammer. We got a couple more I wanted to get to. Okay, read Charlie's, then we'll do another hammer. Go ahead.
Yeah, we got to get our homie Charlie, Professor Charlie. What's up, brother? Henry trade value for a close to competing 10 teams, start 9 Superflex. He's got a Chain, Hunt, Allen, G. Wilson, Zay Flowers, Managers, AR, Najee, Olave, in 5 and 2, and DD Frisky have 225 firsts. Josh Allen at QB also has Devontae Ridley, Warren Bigsby, and Garendo. Also got a trade brewing in the same thing. Would you do Devon Chain and Anthony Richardson, a couple late picks for Tua, Waddle, Jacobs, Chubb, Pickens, or Brown? So let's go back to this. What did we say? It is a start
it's 9. 10 by 9. Why am I giving up 2 for 5?
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not, Charlie. The 2 you're giving up are a Chain and AR, who, even though a Chain's had not a great season without Tua, and AR has yet to do, well, absolutely anything, the ceiling in a 10 by 9 of those two far outweigh anything you'll ever do. You're not going to start half the dudes you're trading for. So you're going to end up
That's the case. Why am I trading Nick Chubb? He's never hitting my lineup. Why am I trading for Chase Brown? He's probably never hitting my lineup. The only thing I would say, Shane, is if you have the ability to do a deal like this and then trade 3 guys for firsts, okay, then I'll do that. But like, that's the kind of thinking you have to have versus I get 5 players and now I have 17 players in a start 9 and I have no clue who to play. Because then you're going to start Nick Chubb over Chase Brown, and it's going to be the wrong one, you know, and then next week you're going to do the opposite. You're just going to have situations that are impossible to predict. So you don't need to do that. Yep. Okay. Joe sent us a hammer. Bought you a hammer. Love you guys. Thanks for reading my community post on the 10:15 stream. So cool. That's one from last week. So thank you, Joe. Another hammer from.
Why is Sleeper's app so trash this year? Just absolutely.
I mean, it's generally pretty good. It's just it doesn't load sometimes. Then you got to refresh and close it down and fire it up again.
It tells me that my team consists of nothing but 2025 picks, which would be nice, but is not true. Anywho, sorry.
Let's see. What is this? TK Fantasy Football, TKFF, 12 teams start 10, 1.75 tight end premium, Superflex, Caleb, Kyler, Herbert, Achan, Walker, Charbonnet, Jonathan Brooks, CeeDee Lamb, Neighbors, Waddle, Leggett, Jordan Whittington, Brock Bowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, all 25 picks, no 26 picks. Added Eric All on the back of the tight end room. So it's 1.75, so I don't hate having a couple of those tight ends. 12 by 10, Shane. Want to know which direction to take this team. He does not give the record or anything like that, but it's a low activity league and people value picks higher than usual. Thanks for the content thanks for the great content as always, gentlemen. So here's the team, 12 by 10, low activity, people overvalue picks. I'm guessing this team with Walker, Caleb, Kyler, Neighbors, like it's probably not terrible. It's just probably a 500 or better team. Have some guys that started off slow, but it's fine. So what do you think? What would you do here? Picks are overvalued. Are you moving your 25 first here?
Well, they're overvalued. Sure. Can I get AJ Brown for the 25 first?
You might have to add like Leggett to that, or you know what I mean? Like you might have to, but you can throw some shit against the wall and see if you can get another guy that's a locked in starter, right? Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, because that's looking at where you even need to upgrade. I don't know why I just air quoted that, but like you're limited to where you could even upgrade. You know what I mean? It's like your wide receiver 2 in this scenario because fuck that. AJ Brown's your wide receiver 1. You trade for AJ Brown, you have a wide receiver 1, and everyone else moves down a tier. And yeah, if you move Leggett, fine. Whittington, I wasn't even named because
he doesn't count. But I mean, you have Andrews and Likely one of those guys you can flex in a 1.75. So like I don't need the receiver depth. If I can add another hammer receiver here to go with Waddle, Neighbors, and Lamb, like I feel pretty good about that rest of the season. I have 3 quarterbacks, Achane, Walker, Jonathan Brooks coming on.
Yeah.
It's going to be an inflexible team because you're not going to have any firsts for 2 years. But I think you have assets where you could clearly pivot off of another one to get a first if you had to.
That's what I was going to say. It's not inflexible when you have Caleb, Tyler, Achane, Lamb, Neighbors, in this scenario, AJ Brown, even Waddle. You'll be fine.
All right, let's get a 3-hammer from Alec. 12 teams, start 9, 1.5 tight end premium, Jaden Daniels, and then McCarthy, Watson, ouch. So basically Jaden Daniels, Braylon Allen, Cans, Chris Olave, T. Higgins, Roma Dunze, A.D. Mitchell, Mike Wilson. No tight ends. 6 firsts in 25, 4 firsts in 26, and 3 seconds over the next 2 years. So we have a shell of a roster here, but we do have some building block pieces with some couple receivers, McCarthy, Daniels. So feeling okay about that. General advice, guidance for tanking teams that are cakewalking to the 101. So let's assume he already has the 101 locked up. Anything you all like to try to do to take advantage if you've gutted a roster of anything worth value, or do we just sit on our hands until the offseason with the best hope of where the picks land? First year out of the startup, mid-activity. So what do you think? Here's the team.
Well, I mean, so first of all, you should already know this, and I'll assume that you don't, but we'll just say you should be grinding the shit out of the waivers, right? Especially this week. You know how many like waiver pieces there are out there this week for you to pick up that you could eventually trade for thirds? And I know that sounds not fun or exciting, but it is. You know, like I want nothing more than to be able to move Mason Tipton for 2/3. Like that would make my week on a roster like this. Just adding them, just stacking picks.
Would Watson have already been off your team on this roster for whatever you could have gotten?
A 4th. Now, luckily, Watson was so bad that he didn't.
Well, I mean, before the injury, would this have been the team that, because he's not helping you, right? He's not an asset. So even if this team is playing for the future, wouldn't you have traded him for, you know, a 3rd and
yes,
I don't know, pick something, Ray Davis, you know, it's like something like that where you're just thinking, okay, it's not anything that's moving the needle, but it's giving me more assets to collect, right? Like that. He's the kind of player that's gone.
Just stacking them at that point, just to have a bunch of picks. Because like Scott said, you have a shell, you have Daniels and you have McCarthy. So your QB room hopefully will be fine. And then your wide receivers, you just need to fill in a little bit.
Between Olave, Higgins, and Adunze, I feel like I have 3 guys that will be part of my, not studs, but part of my foundation when I add some studs, because I have 10 firsts over the next 2 years. Would this be a team you would liquidate like Michael Wilson and A.D. Mitchell at the right time? Like they have a good game or something like that? Like are those the type of guys that are gone, or because we don't need to tank any further? We're already at the 101. Would you be willing to move those guys too?
Yeah. Look, I'm willing to move everything at the right price. Like AD Mitchell, if I could get out on a second, I would. Michael Wilson, people, I'm one of the people, I shouldn't even say people, but Michael Wilson keeps going out there and putting up good snap shares and then target shares, except for last night, and then doing nothing with them. But people still like them. So, yeah, I'd be moving those dudes. No one's off the table. Literally, no one's off the table.
And get creative. If you can move like AD Mitchell and 2 seconds for a 26 first, you know what I mean? Like, when I have a team, here's the beauty of a team like this, Shane. I got nothing but time and roster spots.
Yeah.
So throw shit against the wall. Send trades where you go, there's no way that would be accepted until maybe you find that team that goes, oh, you're giving me Braylon Allen and AD Mitchell and a second for a 26 first. Maybe that could be something that they hit accept on, or they counter with something where you're like, wow, all I had to do is add a third. Like, send them out because you got nothing else to do. Fill your roster with backup quarterbacks, things that you think you could trade, and, grind the rest of the way out. So thank you for the 3 hammers, Alec. Throw one from the chat while I get these hammers all caught up.
So our buddy Alyssa, where are you at? Oh, wait, we had another one. I'm sorry. We have some super chats. Cobra Kai, is Odunze worth a mid-first? How he rank versus top 25 wide, or the 25 wide receivers? How does he rank compared to the top 20, to the 2025 wide receivers? Good Lord, I can't speak English. I don't know. Are you giving up a mid-first for Odunze? I think I still am. I don't know that I want to.
I think this is one of those deals that we got the question earlier about. Do you trade your 25 first for something that is not going to hold its value? Even if Odunze doesn't end up being great, it feels like this is the type of deal you make, because even if you lose and you regret moving that 106 and you'd rather had that on the clock than Rome Odunze, you're not going to lose this deal. Yeah, you still have a window. Like you're not giving this up for, what 29-year-old receiver is smashing. That's where you lose the deal when you get to the offseason. That's going to be a loss. So, yeah, I don't mind doing this because I'd rather have the flexibility of the first. But why do you want the flexibility of the first? So you can move it for something that you want, and you're getting what you want here. So, yeah, I'm fine with doing this deal.
Okay, gonna hide that message. Let's get this. I think we got one more super chat left. That's the same exact one I just did, because I went ahead and hid logs because I'm a doofus. So let me just go back to 842. Really not good at this, controlling things.
We're doing fine. We're doing fine.
There you go. Part 1, log. 12-team Superflex, start 11. He's got May, McCarthy, Herbert, Darnold, Mondre, Achane, Tracy, Marv, Rome, Ayuk, Pop Lad Kirk, Andrew Sinat. I hate
Pop Lad Kirk. I popped that Lad Kirk.
What a
Pop Lad Kirk.
Yeah. Love Marvin that. Rome, great. And then after that, it's just absolute mayhem. Sinat, 325 first. He's 1-6. He's got a good shot at the 101. So I just say before I find the next piece, let's do what we can to get there. Is this a roster that can win next year? I'm looking to move off Herbert and guys like Kirk. That's not okay. That's not the right.
That's a different question. Go back to the original one. Question. Logs.
Yeah.
The first one, the first part. Did you save it?
Yeah. Nope, absolutely not. There it goes.
Okay. So here's one of those teams where the 101's already locked in. We're 1-6. So like that's not really a concern. We're not trying to shed points, but here's my question, Shane. What on this team does somebody else want? That's where you have to start. I mean, I'd love to trade Christian Kirk too, but does anybody want him this week, right now? Probably not. Does anybody want Ramondre Stevenson right now? Probably not. I would take them, but again, when you have teams like this, you literally have to check it every week and go, which player do I have? Do I have Tank Bigsby? And you know when I need to move him? Right now, not next week. He's not an asset. He's an asset that somebody else is going to want today. So I look at a team like this and I go, okay, I'm not even going to bother to put Ramondre Stevenson or Christian Kirk on the block. This is just not the time to do it. But Tyrone Tracy, sure.
Lad Kirk, Jesus.
Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews after 2 good games where he's been touchdown dependent to save his life. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's truthfully, I'd love to move everything on this roster. But the problem is you put it all on the block and there's going to be 1 or 2 players that people would actually want. when you say I'm looking to move points off this team, you know what people are going to send you offers for, Shane? Like Roma Dunze, which is not the piece you want to trade.
No, but you know what? If someone comes to you and they're like, "Hey, I'll give you a mid first and a second for Roma Dunze," I think I would do this just looking at the rest of the roster because you're not competing next year. So that was his other question: am I competing next year in a start 11? It would take a small act of.
No, I'm not going that far.
He doesn't. He has 3.
It doesn't matter. The NFL from now to next season, there's so much shit that can happen.
Sure.
I'm not eliminating any team that has the 101, 3 firsts, and the shell of a roster already built from competing. Are you going to win the championship? Are you going to knock off the 2 best teams in the league if there are couple super teams? I'm not saying that. But every team with this amount of assets is competing. Right. Like, I'm not looking at it, I'm not going to compete next year. I'm going to tank again. Now, if you're going to do that, then why do you have any players? You know what I mean? So, yes, you are competing next year. Don't fool yourself into thinking you're not a contender, because a lot of teams came out. You weren't a contender this year when all you had is Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers, and Jaden Daniels as your 3 best players. Not bad. So,
Brock, baby.
All right. Got 3 hammers from Evan. Got to put that up here. Got to get a couple hammers done before we finish this stream. Evan, 3 hammers, 12-team Superflex, half PPR, start 8. So 12-team, but very shallow, no premiums, nothing fancy. Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Drake May. Shane loves that QB room. You can stare at that for hours. You could stare into the eyes of that QB room for days.
That's fun.
AOC does not belong in that list.
No. He's just throw up that weird dragon meme or the goofy looking one. That's him. AOC. He does not belong there.
Shane, continue to stare in the eyes of the quarterbacks because it does not get better at running back. Pacheco, Benson, Tracy, Ray Davis. But then we got Neighbors, Olave, Waddle, Diojon, Hopkins, Yoshivas, Goddard, Sinnott, Parkinson, 3 firsts, a 26 first, and 4 seconds overall.
Okay.
We are 7th in points for, 4th in points against. So probably truly middle of the pack. Plan was to tank and compete next year and the year after. But again, the team has Malik Neighbors and Jaden Daniels, which is helping it stay afloat better than probably he thought. Let's see. Sell for below market value to shed points and take swings at hammers now. 2, need advice in stimulating the league activity. We've had 3 trades since the draft. Yikes. I've been involved in all of them. Double yikes. All league members are active with their rosters and waivers. Tried auto accept trade block. It's clearly low activity. Tried tanking, but people will not buy. We also have 5 IDPs and his are strong. So let's ignore the IDPs. But back to the team, Shane. This is more geared towards it's a start 8 and it's a low activity and nobody will buy. But do you try to go after a hammer? What's your move here with all the information he's given us? And thank you for the 3 hammers, Evan.
Well, yeah, because it's start 8, first of all. So, yes, I'm trying to buy a hammer. I don't know how he's going to do it because it sounds like no one in his league wants to trade, which is weird because he did say everyone's active on waivers and setting their lineups and stuff.
Is this a league you'd go after like Rashee Rice? Like that might be your best chance of getting a hammer for the future.
Yeah, I mean, you could have probably went after Puka earlier, but yeah, Rashee Rice. This might be a league where not Brandon Ayuk.
It's just a start 8. Even Ayuk and Shaheed, those guys are probably still below the.
Shaheed, I'd actually be fine. I'd chip out a second or 2 for Shaheed, if someone would take that, or Benson. Trey Benson. No one's taken
Tyrone Tracy. Tyrone Tracy, and could you get away? Could you do Tyrone Tracy and Jalen Waddle for Rashee Rice?
Oh yeah, you could definitely get that.
Like that's the kind of creativity you're going to have in a shallow league like this to truly get a hammer. I'm guessing here's the problem with the start 8. I'm guessing there's not really any need for other people to do much other than just set their lineup. Does it mean that there are suboptimal decisions being made? Probably.
Right.
But in a start 8, nobody is desperate for a starter. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like they're looking on their bench going, I don't really want to start Zach Moss, but like, I'm not going to put in the effort to try to upgrade for him because he's still technically a starter until he's not. Like that, that kind of thinking is why, we like to play in start 11 or start 12 because then you really are like, yeah, this guy's. I'm starting Raheem Blackshear. I probably should go get somebody else. So, real quick, how do I stimulate the league activity? And I'm not going to say add more starters, but that's the first thing. Truthfully, if you want more activity, make people fill 3 more starters. But it's hard to go from start 8 to start 11. That's probably
that's literally probably the only thing you can do. It sounds like you already communicate with them, and if you're the one that's making all the trades, it's really hard for me to be like, oh, reach out to people because clearly it's not that you're not talking to people. You know what I mean? You can't make other people make trades with each other. I mean, maybe start going in the chat and talking shit about people, about how horrible their team is, and maybe they need to make moves. Everyone will think you're an asshole, so I don't know if you really want to do that. But I mean, you're limited in what you can do. Like people, like Scott said, it's start 8. There's not a lot of moves to be made. Like sometimes, unfortunately, that's just going to be how it is. It's going to be quiet like that. And Scott and I have talked about this before. I've left leagues because it's no activity. Like, you know what? Like I enjoy trading. If I'm in a league where there's no trading whatsoever, 3 trades since draft would absolutely blow my mind. I might just go, you know what, fellas? It's been nice playing with you. I'm just going to go find another league. I really like all of you. You're great people, I guess, but I'm out.
I'll just say I have had very few start 11 or more leagues where there's no activity. There's bad managers sometimes, but that's nothing that a dispersal pool and bringing in some new blood will fix. Like just the type of league it stimulates activity. I have had some start 10s fold, Shane. I'm in a couple start 10s right now. I don't really love them because there's not the same level of need and demand in those leagues. Like I never need to buy anything, and other people don't need to buy the stuff I want to sell. Like a lot of times it's just nothing really happens. So I don't
even think I'm in any 10-team leagues. I know I'm not. Matter of fact,
I'm not even 10 team, just 12 by 10 start 10s. Like they're not even fun. I prefer, start 11, start 12, start 13. It with the way that fantasy is scored with basically it's studs and duds to the extreme. There's nothing better than kind of having a start 12 with a lot of activity where you do have to value what is going on right now. You do have to kind of play the, what can I maximize over the short term, even though it's dynasty, like it requires that level of activity to win. So,
yep.
All right.
I couldn't skip Alyssa here.
Nope.
Alyssa Cyball. 12 teams, super flex, start 11. She's a middling team, has a 325 first and seconds. Give JJ McCarthy a mid 25 second for May. Absolutely smash that. Love you guys and glad to be back watching you guys. Best Dynasty show out there. Appreciate you, Alyssa. Yeah, I would absolutely smash that deal. I like May so much better than I like JJ McCarthy, and it's got nothing to do with the knee injury. I'd make this trade all day, and giving up a second's a low level or a low amount to tier up to Drake May. So yeah, I'd do this deal. Oh shit! I didn't mean to put someone else's up there, but sure.
No, I threw it up there. There. Pasca. Probably how it is.
Pasta,
definitely not pasta.
Pasta
anyway,
fagioli.
Inbox offer. Give my 25 first. Get Adams and Kate Otten. Do you need to read any further, Shane? No context.
2 PPR, man. Kate Otten's an absolute monster. Just saying.
Okay. I mean, I guess with Godwin and Evans down, I mean,
Lamar, Burrow, Brees.
Is it crazy that Kate Otten outscores Devontae Adams in this format? Okay. Probably.
No, not at all. But here's the other thing. Just looking at his roster, Lamar, Burrow, Brees, Chain, Kraft, Olave, Mooney, Wandell. He lost Mike Evans and Shaheed. So he's getting 2 starters. He didn't tell us how many starters it is.
Let's just assume 10. Is this a team that you have to probably try to move Shaheed for value or no?
Yeah, I'd rather move Shaheed for like a Chase Brown than giving up my 25.
Would you move Shaheed for Kate Otten?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And just not even deal the first for Adams. You know what I mean?
I don't want to give up the first. Now I do like this. Anytime I'm moving my first, if I can get 2 starters out of it where it's needed, it's great. It's great. This just
is this
feels
enough
like,
though? Is this, if this is the only deal on the table, is this enough for you to say I'm going to do it now, or I'll live to see another week?
no, I'll live to see another week. There's going to be other buying opportunities, and maybe something better comes along.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I hate to say it, but this is one where I would truthfully almost look at my team this week and say, like, do I need to make this deal to tack on another win? And if I don't, like, I should be able to get this deal next week. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that does come into play in terms of the timing. Like, I don't have to do it right now. If someone else trades for Kate Otten and Devontae Adams and gives up their first, like, okay, sure. There's another deal like that that'll come by. Oh, let's see. What else you got?
Get rid of Devonta Smith in Dynasty.
No, why?
Yeah, he had one bad game. Look, that's what happens. He's little, bro. It's going to happen.
But you know what? He is the poster child of, he is a wide receiver. He is a wide receiver 15 to 30, and that's what he is. He's never going to be more. He's never going to be better than A.J. Brown. He's never going to be the primary read on the team. But, like, why am I in a rush to move him when, what am I getting? A reroll?
Yeah.
Or most likely, you know what I'm trading him for? Like another receiver that's the same as him. That's just a different guy.
Just one that had a good week last week. And then you know what'll happen? They'll have a bad week next week, and I'll go, oh, what can I trade them for? The guy that just had a good week last week.
And Smitty's got Cincy. Come on.
This better be the shootout we are promised. I swear to God. It better be. I expect to see Jamar Chase running up and down the field. Not T. Higgins, because I don't have any of him. Lots of A.J. Brown and Saquon, some Devonta, obviously Jalen Hurts. I want a 45-40 Eagles victory. That's what we need in life right now.
Some of us.
Hey, balls is life. What's up, brother? Long time no talk.
Shane's to the, I'm just throwing up random comment section of the show. Let's hit a couple of these starred ones before we end it. The truth is out here. Hey, fellas, love the show. You were the cutting edge. I don't know about that. We hope we're still relevant in the space. I need you to peddle more trades with players on my teams, though, so I can get these wannabes, offer them up. What is a fair price for the Ayuk manager looking to keep contending, selling him to a rebuilder 1-6? I tried moving Ayuk for Achane. I mean, yeah, come on. You're not going there. I also went to the Cup and Devontae team to try to get something out of it. So there's no more after those two comments. But Shane, like, we didn't really go in depth, even though we hit on this at the beginning of the show. You have to Ayuk for Achane, you wouldn't have got that before. So
no,
now he's injured. Like, you have to understand that. And I'm on the other side of a couple of these. We both are, where we're the shitty team, right? And we're interested in buying the Chris Godwins and Rashid Shaheeds and Ayuks, but you have to meet the person in the middle. You don't have any leverage here.
Yes.
When my team is 1-6 and it is so bad, sure, I'm interested in Ayuk, but you have to look at how is it helping me? You know how it's probably helping me? It's giving me an asset for next year, and it's helping me maybe shed some points this year.
Yep.
But if all I'm getting back is nothing, then if you're not helping me shed the points, then why am I doing the deal? Like, you still have to look at the tanking team as to what their motivation is. And maybe that's not the same for everybody else, but like, you don't have any leverage here. If someone's offering you Cooper Kupp for Brandon Ayuk, I would take Cooper Kupp.
Yes.
That, you know how you keep contending? You make that deal. Now, if Cooper Kupp gets injured, then you lost. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But you're not going to the assets that you couldn't have gotten before Ayuk's injury and thinking you're going to get to those now, because the person's they just don't have to do that kind of deal. So any other thoughts on that topic before we move on?
No, man, you hit that, bro.
All right. Real quick, same kind of question. How about a list of players you'd trade Ayuk for if you're a contender and you're stuck with him? I mean, I'm not going to go through the entire list, but I would say, Shane, it is broader than you would think, because if I want production and I'm willing to resign the fact that Ayuk is not a long-term great asset, like we already talked about, he could get back to being worth a first. He could get back to a point where people demand and want him again. It's not guaranteed, though. He has an ACL and an MCL, and they still haven't figured out if there's more damage. Like, This isn't like, oh, August, he's going to be back to worth easily a first.
There are probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, just off the top of my head, 40 players I would trade Ayuk for right now.
If you count quarterbacks, there's way
I'm
more.
not even counting like high-end elite players. Like, I'm just taking them off the table. Like, not even them. Like, honestly, just beyond the elite range, beyond the really good range. There's like 40 people either for production or other reasons I would take
Ayuk, or would you do Ayuk, or I'm trying to think of one that's going to trigger people's Ayuk or Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones.
I assume other running backs in the same
Yes.
group are the same. Montgomery.
Yes.
That type. Easy.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
How far down would you go? Would you go Tony Pollard?
Yes.
Okay. See if I go a little grosser. Here, we already said Darnell. I mean, if we're debating Darnell Mooney versus Ayuk, like, that's probably the line. You said you would take Ayuk, but that's
probably where that's probably getting player takey, right? Because there's probably guys below that range that I would end up taking, but not him. You know what I mean? So dudes in that range. Sanford said Brian Robinson. Yeah, sure. Tank Dell. Smash Tank Dell.
Here's the game theory part. The person that's 1-6, the hard part about it is a lot of them don't have Brian Robinson or Aaron Jones anymore. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the team you're typically trading with. If they do, it's perfect because the trade actually works like a good marriage better because of the players that they're trying to sell you. But a lot of times what I've found is the teams that would be interested in Ayuk, they're trying to get to my Ayuk by throwing like 3 pieces at the wall. You know what I mean? They don't have a clear smash producing running back that's older. Oh yeah, I just haven't gotten around to trading my Alvin Kamara yet. Here he is. You know what I mean? Like, not the 1-6 team, maybe the 3-4 team that's now deciding to sell, but the 1-6 tanker, the person that sends me the offer and I look at their team and I go, dude, I would love to get a 17 point per game running back, but you have nothing. Your team's gutted. So it's got to be creative and think about the motivations of the other teams.
Yep.
Last one, Super Sauce XL trying to trade Marvin Harrison for a higher producing asset in a 12x10, willing to add a first to get someone that'll produce now. I mean, Marvin a first. How many are even in the who are you even sending that for? Like 3 players?
Justin Jefferson,
Lamb. Okay, Jefferson, you would do. Would you do Chase?
Is it the 112? Is it the 112?
We have
Let's
no
call
clue.
it the 110. 110.
I'm assuming this is I want production and I'm willing to add a first. So let's just call it a playoff first. Maybe it's 108. Maybe it's 111. I don't know.
Okay. I'll do that for, I'm assuming 108 through 111. Well, for that, we might as well say 108 through 112. I don't know why I would leave that out. 108.
Because if we win the title, we're not going to give a shit. We'll do the deal.
Just 108 through 112. I would do it for Jefferson, Chase, Lamb, AJ Brown.
You'd add the first to Marv to get AJB. Okay.
Yeah, I'm back on the putting respect on AJ Brown's name. I'm back on that.
Neighbors? Is he even guaranteed to produce? You saw the Giants up close without their left tackle. Are you confident Neighbors is going to eat, or are you a little worried?
According to Neighbors, he was open every route.
Okay. Well, a lot of receivers
wasn't his fault. I will say that whoever the Eagles had on him shut his punk ass down.
Answer the question. Would you do it for Neighbors right now?
110 and 110. Yep.
Okay. Amon-Ra. Now that J-Mo's out, he should smash.
He should. Yeah, that one extra target that J-Mo is eating up every week.
It's not the one extra target. It's the fact that
I know.
It's just it's the perception of would you do it for Amon-Ra?
I mean, in theory, I should, right? Because if I'm going AJ Brown, mostly everyone has Amon-Ra above him. So yeah, again, it's a late first. I'm trying to get production. I'll live with the consequences of losing Marv and I don't know what was 110 this year. Xavier Worthy, Michael Penix, Bo Nix. I'm not imagining that world. It was Bo Nix, Michael Penix, or Xavier Worthy.
So let me ask you this. If you're just chasing points, are you better off? Because here's the problem. You're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You want the higher valued dynasty asset and the producer.
Mm-hmm.
Would you down tier, though, and get the same amount of – I mean, Joe Mixon and Saquon Barkley are scoring more points than Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson per game.
They are.
Would you rather do a deal where you give up Marvin Harrison and you get back, I don't know, Saquon and a lesser receiver or something? You know what I mean? Like you eat the dynasty value, but the points return is going to be higher. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, all these options are on the table. You don't have to limit yourself to just going, let me add a first to Marv and get a wide receiver, this specific tier of wide receiver back. If it's Saquon Barkley and I don't know.
I'll give you Saquon and DJ Moore for Marvin Harrison.
That is in the realm of yes. Yes.
I mean, you know, value-wise, at some point when the
dam breaks,
lost. You're not going to like that deal. But
no, there's a good chance that by the end of this season, you're not going to love that deal, right? But it's also going to be looking back in hindsight, and it's also going to be ignoring the fact that assuming Saquon doesn't get injured, that you're probably going to finish very, very highly. And Saquon is doubling, tripling up Marv Harrison's scoring right now. Now, I don't expect that to continue, but I don't know why Barkley can't average 20 points a game the rest of this year. Marv has some work to get there, even though his long-term value should be better.
Last one. Got to have the debate real quick. BTJ or Marv?
No,
I've heard a lot of people talking about this. Is it still Marv just based on his name?
Yeah, look, the only wide receiver that causes me pause from this class is Neighbors. That's it. And I am worried about Marv because he hasn't done a damn thing all year outside of one game.
Expand on that. Neighbors causes you pause?
No, I mean, like, that's the only wide receiver that wouldn't cause me pause, I should say.
Okay.
Like, Neighbors is the only one where I'd be like, yeah, I'll do that, without a thought. But Brian Thomas Jr., no. I like Brian Thomas Jr. He looked great again last week, but I'm still banking on Marv getting to where he needs to be. It's been 7 games. It's an evolving offense. Hopefully, again, they fire Drew Petzmeyer, whatever his stupid name is. Dumb fucking fuck. So hopefully they fire that guy and they get, I don't know, an OC in there.
He makes up a name of a guy. At least she didn't say the real name that should get fired. You hate for a real person to get fired.
Hopefully
the fake Drew Petzmeyer can get fired.
Whoever he is, hopefully they get an OC that doesn't keep his head up his ass, and things will change there.
Now, real quick, are you adding to BTJ to get Marv?
I'll add a second.
So you're basically saying I'll add just for the name value of Marv, but if I'm just talking who has a better career or production, like they could be damn even at the end of the year.
I have full confidence that Marv's going to get better, but not so much that I want to add a first to Brian Thomas Jr. to get him. So that confidence is not full.
Cool. Well, Shane, good stream. Put in, if you want to get a hammer, maybe we'll hit another hammer stream. If you get a hammer, we've all caught up for hammers for this week, at least that are in here for us to do. buymeacoffee.com/trades in5 if you want to donate a hammer. What do you want to say to end the show? Clay will be back next week, we hope. It was fun just vibing with you, talking more theory, strategy. It's impossible for us to get to every single topic or question, but I think there were some good ones with the injuries, kind of mid-season pivots that we can make. But final thoughts, my friend. It was fun. And if you want more of Shane and I, we do the show inside of the DD Discord. We have Mannequin Chill that we do every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. So what do you got?
I got nothing. No, look, just I'll say this. I know I get discouraged some nights or some weeks where I'm like, Jesus, this is not going well. This is not going well this week, right? And then I take a step back and I look at my teams the next day and I go, you know what? Even if I went 0-2, 1-1, 1-2 can't be possible. 0-2, 1-1, 0-1. I'm still in the hunt in enough leagues, more leagues than not, that you keep grinding. You know what I mean? That's just what you do. It's easy to just be like, oh, fuck this year, man. You know what I mean? But also, this is the enjoyment of it. I was losing my mind last night when Lamar Jackson almost, I thought, was going to come back and beat me when I had a 50-point lead on someone going into the game. Now, I ended up winning by 40, but this is part of the fun of fantasy football, right? At 10:50, that lead was down to 6 points, and I lost my goddamn mind, and I was yelling at shit. I went outside to smoke a cigarette because I couldn't stand it. And in that time, I went downstairs. Rashad White scored a touchdown. And then Kyler Murray ripped off a 44-yard touchdown. And I ended up winning by 50 points or 40 points anyway. So just enjoy this, man. This is fun. This is the fun. This is fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate everybody. We will be back next week. Clay will be back. We'll get to more hammers. So again, if you have any hammers, send them into buymeacoffee.com/trades5. In the chat, we also put the discount code to check out the DD Fantasy Football website. If you want to sign up, get half off, check out that Trinity tracker.
Wait, hold on. I put the wrong one in there. I put in mine, but I'm taking that out.
Yeah, don't put that one in there. Anyway, Shane will put the correct one in there. We appreciate everybody. Anybody that was in here in the chat. We had a lot of viewers in here. 840 eyeballs, as Clay likes to say, still here at 9:37 Eastern time. So we'll sign off for the week. Thank you, everybody. Continue the grind, and we will be back next Tuesday night. Same time, same channel. Thank you.
I got the link in there now.
Good job.